From there, his anger went towards his job. He had a great job and amazing company, and he was doing well, but not as well as he should have been, and there were some issues. And he told me one day, I accidentally quit my job. I hit send on an email
What?
that
What?
hit send on an email I
Just
wasn't going to send
impulsively, just
impulsively, and I quit my job. And we
okay.
just moved into a new house and we had 2 kids, and he accidentally quit his job. Is when I knew that
You're like,
he was
I
having some.
accidentally have another baby.
I accidentally have children, and a mortgage and car notes
I accidentally have adult
and need
responsibilities.
food for these children.
And eat. I need to have a roof.
So I wasn't worried. I I left him in control of all of the money, all of everything.
Okay.
I was just so naive. I didn't know how much money he made. I didn't see the taxes. I didn't deal with anything because, he's an MBA. He's got this. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to look at
We
anything.
trusted him.
I trusted him with every fiber of my being. So, I was working only part-time because I just, had a baby, and was trying to, give him the respect that he needed. He was supposed to look for a job. And it got to the point where, this is in the middle of like the big housing crisis in 2008. It was just
Mm-hmm.
a mess.
Yes, it was.
It was a mess. And he wasn't working. And I was trying to work, and I was trying to make him happy and trying to deal with the kids. And then I realized I was losing my mind. I was drinking heavily just to maintain this space for him. I was making myself very small so he could be very as big and, angry as he needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't occur to me. There were a couple of things that happened. Um, a, of course, Hurricane Katrina happened that time, and one of my very best friends lives in New Orleans. Her family was displaced. They
Oh.
came to California because they had extended family here, so they were going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And she just needed some space because until all the family members were placed, they were in a 2-bedroom suite at some, and it was like 10 of them.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I said to her, just come and stay with us until they find your placement. And she said one night, I just need to get out. I need to walk. I need to look, let's go to the mall. Can we just go to the mall? And of course, James was home. The kids were sitting there playing. And I said, can I go to the mall
Mm-hmm.
with Dre because, she needs to get out because she needs to go get out of the house. And he said, you going to have me babysit? I'm watching the game. And I was like, it's just for a minute. Can I just do that for a minute? We went round and round in circles. She finally had to interject and say, hey, I need this. You'll be fine. We're going to go. So we get to the mall. We were about to get out of the car. And she said, I just want to say to you, did you realize that you asked permission to leave the house?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, are you okay? Because you just asked permission to leave your house. That's a problem. She was like, I don't know what's going on, but you need to open your eyes and pay attention. That wasn't okay. What happened is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point, I started to really, really pay attention to how he was treating myself and my children. And then one of our children said to me, Mommy, you don't smile anymore. You're not happy anymore. Are you going to be, what's wrong, Mommy? Are you going to be okay? And that's when I realized I needed to do something different. I really was open, and I decided to start working full time to, be a little less available for him. During that time, he comes to me and says, we have $150. And I say, okay.
In cash? Like where? What? In my wallet?
$150 for the week,
Yeah.
$150 for the month,
Today?
$150. What do you mean? He said, that's it. We don't have anything. I need you to
What?
sign over your retirement fund so I can use it to pay the house note and the car notes. I was stunned.
Okay.
I was stunned. but I did it.
Uh,
I gave it to him.
okay.
First, I asked him, I said, "Where's yours?" He said, "I've already gone through it." Okay. So I signed it over to him. And then I realized I need to get into his shit.
With a fine tooth
Let me
comb.
get into his shit because I've been running around here thinking that everything's okay and it's not okay. That's when I found out he had drained the kids' 529s.
No.
His retirement, my retirement. There was a little bit of money that his mom left in life insurance. That was gone too.
No.
The houses had been refinanced and it was upside down. And we were behind two car payments going into the third car payment. And, I was just oblivious. I was just raising the kids, going to work, and not paying attention to anything else because I just
Well, 'cause
trusted
yeah.
with my whole being. I trusted him with everything. And I said to him, let me just rewind for a second. I had always said, everyone when they get married says vows or writes their own vows, or they have their own things that they promise each other that they won't do
Mm-hmm.
in a marriage. And one of the things I asked them to never do is put me in a financial position where I had to ask my parents for money.
Yeah.
My parents are not the best. They're not generous people. They have it, but they're not generous. They will make you remember every second if you have to borrow money. So I said to him right then and there, call your in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what's happening. And they cut a check for us immediately and told him, do not let the car or the houses go. Whatever you do, whatever money you have, put it towards that. And then, we can help you with whatever else. But he didn't listen to that at all. About a month after that, I get woken up in the middle of the night. The car alarm is going off. The car is being repoed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wake up, I think the car is being stolen.
Yes.
Because I had already asked him, did you make this is my first time ever asking him if the bills are paid because I had never done that before. And at this point, we've been together 8 years. I'd never asked him that before. Everything was always taken care of. I'd give him money. We had our joint. I never, ever thought about it. So I think somebody's stealing the car.
Yeah.
So I jump up. I go out there and then I see that it's a tow truck and I step outside and the guy says, ma'am, I'm repossessing the car for the car company. And my heart just drops. It's in the middle of the night. And I said, sir, I'll give you the keys to the car if you will let me get my kids' car seats and diaper bag out of the car. And he said, sure, ma'am, you can do that. Now, mind you, James never even came out of the house.
Huh.
And I think he knew, because at that point, the flame in me is starting at my feet and starting to burn. He was just in the house. I don't know where he was in the house. He just was in the house.
Okay.
So I get the car seats out and give the guy the keys and I walk in the house. It's dead quiet because the kids are asleep. And I just cussed him out that night. I think at that point is when I realized, like, we are not on the same team. We are not on the same team anymore. You are not being honest with me. You are not expressing yourself. We could sell everything in here and move into an apartment, like, just so we don't have the stress. He was like, I'm going to get it together. He swore to me on his mother that he was going to get it together. He was going to do this, he was going to do that. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't see any progress. I started to call in favors. I called a friend of mine, her father, who's a very influential man, sits on the board of several large companies.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I will help you. I will help him. He said, call or look at these companies, see if they have any openings. I will walk your resume in to HR and say, interview this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He never, ever took advantage of that. I called in another favor with a friend who said, hey, I could get him a job with this, radio station. He'd come in at entry level, but once they find out the education that he has and that he has experience, he'll probably move up because it's a very large company and they have stuff happening all over.
There's a lot of growth potential.
There's a lot of growth potential. Nothing.
Okay.
Slowly, like, things are falling apart in the house. Like, I'm, just noticing he's not really making an effort as I take on a second job. I take on a second job and I've got the 2 kids. And even at this point, I was really disappointed because I was not only doing the job of being at home, keeping things together, washing the clothes, going to the grocery store, the same things that I was doing when I only had the part-time job. And now he is currently not working and he is not willing to contribute being at home all the time. He's still expecting me to do everything that I was doing, plus earning more money and doing that. So I started to get mad resentful.
Yeah.
I'm getting mad resentful when, like, I come home and everything's a mess. Now, granted, I'm not going to say that everything was perfect when he used to come home, but, then again, I was young.
Yeah.
I was learning how to organize.
Babies. Well,
Yeah, and I have babies,
and they're toddlers.
And
yeah.
and everyone knows that sometimes you just have to let shit go when you have toddlers and just play with them.
Yeah.
Hang out with them.
Yep.
Sit on the floor and let them feed you soggy Cheerios. Whatever. Fuck this laundry right now. This baby wants to play.
Priorities.
I know.
Yeah.
Come on. And at first I didn't, but when it was like, well, you didn't go to the grocery store. Wait a minute. I just, took on a freelance gig.
This was before Amazon Fresh.
Yes. This is when there was
Or
no such
Instacart.
thing as delivery or online anything.
Unless it was for pizza.
There was no online ordering for pizza.
Not online ordering, but calling it in.
Yeah, you
Calling
could
it
call
in.
it in. There
Yeah.
was it was just Pizza Hut and Domino's that delivered. Nobody else did.
Yeah, no, Chinese food didn't, did they? Only a few places.
The one place
Yeah.
in the area that we lived. So yeah, not all the
Different times.
all the conveniences that you have now where you can, like, have a baby on your hip and order your groceries from Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't an option. So I had been, just working and working and working. And every opportunity that he had to try to get us out of this hole, he would just kind of squander it. And he was still angry and mean and, felt that he was babysitting his own children. And I started thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. He decided to try to sell life insurance. And I thought, you don't have that kind of luxury. There's no nest egg for you to, like, build a business. You've got to just do a job. And so when he turned down the job at the radio station because he said $50,000 isn't enough money. And I said, well, it's better than zero. And he just flat out refused to take the job. I was like, well, how do I even make you happy? What do I do? It just seemed like he did not want to get us out of the mess.
He wanted to put it in a box and keep it in the box. Yeah.
I took on a third job at this point.
Okay.
So I took on a third job, and at this point, I had decided I can't do this anymore. The pressure was just too much. The resentment from him and the obligation from him and the control and the disrespect, it just never stopped. And I I felt like if I didn't separate myself from him, I would just end up drowning,
Yeah.
because I couldn't even give my kids the kind of attention that they needed. And they were a little apprehensive and nervous around him because he would get angry for no reason, no reason. Um, with especially with our our son when he was 6, 7, and I think it was just a couple days before Valentine's Day I decided I'm not gonna pretend that I'm happy and in love and try to do some you know dinner and whatever
Mhm.
afterwards. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.